What is going on, Nissan Nation? From all things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee to wherever you're watching us around the globe, this is your Nissan Nation, and you know the drill. I'm your host, David Lloyd. We got Daniel Gruters over there. What's up, buddy?
Smell my finger, boys. Smells like chocolate.
Oh man, gross. I think I ate your chocolate squirrel. Oh man, I feel like Danny, we just did this.
Yeah, I feel like we just were talking.
I mean, we're close friends, but I just feel like we've spent an hour talking about something and.
Sorry, just smelling my fingers again.
Hey everybody, cheers!
Old school.
Cheers for one thing. You know the drill. Tonight.
Sorry, David. I'm thrown off.
Tonight is brought to you by. I wish it was brought to you by Bullet Bourbon, but it's not. Anyways, you know the drill, guys. That'll probably get us defunded right there, but who cares? ATX Trent, Frank B, Joe Taylor, Alpine. What is up, Mr. Copeland? Dog Breath, Frank B. 10 viewers in here so far, guys. You know the drill. You know what we need right now. We need everybody to smash that like button. And you know what that does, Danny? It gets us up in the views. People that don't normally know where we're at, they find us. And Kelly coming in strong, dude. For $10, he would rather not smell your finger, Danny. So maybe that's what we do. We just start putting things that people would not like to see on screen or anything like that, and they'll pay us to do it.
Is that our new business model?
I don't know, but maybe it should be. Maybe it should be.
All right.
If you guys didn't know, we were just live on ATN, All Terrain Nation, and we were talking about the Ford Bronco. Not that we're going to talk about it here, but if you like all things pickup trucks, SUVs, or whatever has four wheels, we talk about that over there. So, Danny, it's Friday. It's early Friday for you.
Took forever to get here.
It did. Hey, Danny, can you scoot your camera over just a little bit to get your Nissan Nation Productions in there? Oh, yeah.
Let me see.
Other way.
Let me see if I...
Other way. There you go, Dan. Now you can be a part of the nation. There you go.
Am I good?
Yeah, we are good. Guys, these are live shows, remember, so you gotta go with us on that one when we do live. Danny, if you will take them off real quick, while I want to update a link real quick, and
yeah, no problem. Tonight we're talking about Frontier, Navara, if you will. The old MP 100 was the national, or the worldwide Navara, as many as you know. It was the call it the third gen Frontier all around the world. Obviously, we only had the Frontier here in the States with the first and second gen. If you don't want to, if you're not counting the old hard body. So thanks, Alpine, for the 99 cents. I appreciate you trickling that little bit.
So generous
for
so
us.
Generous.
I know. I like how Kevin gives us just a tip.
Just a taste. He just gives us a taste.
We're going to be talking about that as well as chatting a little bit about last time last time me and Dave had a show together. We did an interview with Team Wild Grace, who did the Rebel Rally, and actually ended up. We were following her on Instagram, or both of them, Lynn and Sedona, and they did really well.
And our friends did quite well too. That drove the Toyota, the FJ Cruiser. Yeah,
Andrea and her other slipping my mind, but they did really well. They got awarded like the cool chick helper outers or something like that. I don't remember what the award was.
I know that award.
They did really well. Yeah.
Well, anyways, what is up, Miso Honey? When will the unveil be for the Frontier? Now, Joe Taylor told me a little bit of news. He may have seen something that I haven't seen just yet. But Joe, pop in there. When did you say that global Frontier Navara was popping up? I'm gonna pull up some news real quick because I want to double check, Joe. And but it's really, really quick, and I've said that if Nissan doesn't, especially for the U.S. market, if they do not drop us something soon on the other one, it's going to be the first of the year. And unfortunately, it keeps looking more and more like it's going to be the first of the year. So sorry, Dan. I'm trying to do some searching.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't sure what you were doing there, Dave. Dave sometimes just he gets old and he forgets where he's at. As many of you know, Dave is an old timer, and right now he's probably trying to remember
Huh?
whether or not he put his toast in the toaster. So we'll let Dave slide for a minute here.
That's
But
right.
yeah, as I was saying, a huge shout out to those girls or those women that placed fourth in the Rebel Rally. The Navara, uh, are we talking? So the big question is Dave put out a video just recently where we saw that Navara, which may be coming out as a frontier, a global frontier, or it could be becoming a global frontier in the Mexican South American market. I don't think we have for sure answers on that yet, but that's kind of what we're starting to hear the inklings of.
Right. And let's just
Dave,
pull.
you want to kind of weigh in a little bit
Well,
on that?
let's pull these pictures up real quick. So, all right. So on the, I guess depending on my side, you've got the U.S. frontier, the spy photos that are out there, and on Danny's side, you got the Navara with its sort of minor changes going on there. And I know it's confusing. And I went on that video. We've over 10,000 views on that video, man. It's been pretty good for us. The people don't seem to understand that there's two frontiers. And why Nissan ever did this,
Yeah.
it's stupid confusing. But yes, so in the islands, you get a frontier that's basically the Navara, the NP300. In Mexico, you get the NP300. Some places in South America, Australia, they call it Navara. Like, and even in Europe, it's a Navara. I probably should look up what Navara means. I'm sure there's some goofy meaning
I know. I
to
was
it.
just thinking that myself.
But whatever. So woo, man, Alpine is going to really make us earn that money. So I had said a while back that I had heard rumors that Nissan was going to merge the trucks back into one global truck. Now the last generation Navara, which is still our current Frontier, they were basically the same truck minus you got a diesel and a few tweaks. It was very close, and then they upgraded it to the Navara that we know of now. We didn't get that for whatever reasons. The United States, my understanding was its coils in the rear, and the U.S. market just wasn't ready for to have a coil truck, or they didn't think they were. I know in Australia they were fussing that the coils that they put in it were a little weak, and the Australians do, since they don't have a lot of full size trucks in Australia, they demand a lot out of their little trucks. So the truck wasn't performing initially as they wanted, and it probably freaked Nissan out to bring it to the United States. But we're past all that now, because the Navara, once again, you see it with the refresh, the light refresh. Now that is a base model Navara that you're seeing in the white there. So you're just getting the basic halogen headlights. You're getting the basic chrome grille and stuff, but it does give you a great idea of what it's going to look like. And if you watch the video that we posted up, yes, there's a Battleship Gray one. It looks like to be like a Pro 4X version. Nissan is set to come at the market. They used to really own this market very well, and they just, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was because old Carlos Ghosn was just, he didn't like trucks or whatever it was, they just sort of not abandoned it, Danny, but they just sort of
Sat on their
took it for
sat on
granted.
their haunches, yeah, and they tried to squeeze every little dollar they possibly could out of it. I think is what they were trying to do.
They did, but once again, we are past that now, as you can see. And guys, if you're sharing this somewhere or on a group, a forum or somewhere, that if you still believe that truck under me is the Navara that you see under Danny, wake up, man. There's the body lines are different.
The headlights are different. The hood is a little bit more square. There's just so many body lines that are different, and it's obvious that the Navara is getting a facelift. The Navara is a much newer vehicle, so it would make sense to get a facelift if they were going to be coming out with the new Frontier in the States. So, and I think it's fairly obvious. It makes kind of common sense. Kind of says that that's going to be their game plan, and that's going to be the two separate vehicles. So to clear up some of that confusion, where and if it's named Frontier and it looks like we'll call it the Navara for clarity's sake, that might be something that's going to be in Mexico, right, Dave? Is
Yes.
that's our idea, because they are called that in Mexico sometimes, and or however they're scheming up at Nissan HQ as far as naming conventions for the what markets get what. That's kind of what we're thinking as far as, especially if you watch that last video that Dave was showing, that this thing may have had a stamped tailgate that said Frontier on it. There's a good chance that that's going to be in the North South American market, possible.
Yeah, and it is what it is. Now, Danny, I'm looking for this link that Joe just shared me. So have patience with me, guys.
It's all right.
See if we can see if I can get this pulled up real quick and share to you guys so we can all look at it. Anyways, it's 12. I don't read. It looks to be Indian. So
Frank B has used the word triculating a lot. I feel like it's a new word that he learned today that he just cannot use. I mean, would it be more triculating?
No,
or is it triculating?
Isn't it something triculating you said on one of these shows, I believe?
Oh, is that something that I said? I can't be held responsible for things that I've said.
I want to say, Danny, that is one of the things that you would mention.
Is that a Dannyism?
Yeah, thank you, Alpine. Thank you for that. So yes, so obviously these two trucks are different, and like Danny was saying, it makes sense. The Navara is just getting a slight refresh. Their motor's not changing. The interior's just a tweak, and the taillights are changing. That's about it on that truck. Now, the U.S. spec one over there that you see is that seems to be more of a high-end truck over there that you see. The grill looks completely different. Everything we know, it's going to be sort of mini Titan-like. Unfortunately, I've said for a long time I don't even in the Nismo pictures that I dropped, I don't think that one looked as Titan as they started to now. Now, I know a lot of people told me, hey, Dave, that looks like a mini Titan, and I fought it probably because I just didn't want it to look like a mini Titan, but for whatever reason, Nissan's pushing it in that direction. But we've been over this a few times with this truck. Obviously this thing's gonna get the safety shield all the way around, so the bumpers and everything are gonna have the sensors all over it there. That's why you see it right under the Nissan burger on the US spec one there's that big chunk of plastic that's covered up. It's because there's a big sensor there that they got for the pedestrian cams and all that you don't see in this Navara. That's one thing that globally they don't get the safety shield and all that, the tech that we do. So that's one reason why these trucks need to be different as well. And I just overall, Danny, I really, like I was saying earlier, I think Nissan is going to slowly, they refresh the Navara, they get that out for about 2 years, then they just convert that into what our US spec Frontier is. What do you think that makes sense? Or
I think it if they're, I think economy has a big thing to do with that. Are they gonna start manufacturing them all in North America? Would that make sense? I mean, it doesn't sound like it makes sense. Trade deals. Maybe there's a lot of international stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't know about that could cause some of those decisions to be made differently. Or maybe they're setting up they haven't decided yet, depending on who's going to be our president or something like that.
Right.
There's a lot of things that could be weighing in on that decision, because that would be a big decision as far as manufacturing is concerned. Are they going to be setting up 2 plants to make the same vehicle? That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Why don't they just crank out one plant?
Well, internationally though, so there was one in Spain that I believe they're slowly shutting down. Obviously, Canton, Mississippi here builds it, which saddens me because they used to build it here in Middle Tennessee. In the Philippines, there's a plant there that Nissan builds it for the Australian and that markets. Nissan is not full of money right now. We all know that. Everybody thinks they're going bankrupt. Once again, they're not going bankrupt, but they do need to start working things as more budget friendly. And I think keeping some of these things in line with each other just makes sense. Now, U.S. spec vehicles are always different than global vehicles because we've got those old California laws, Dan, that your home state over there likes to push their weight around and force us
making shitty gas cans since 1990.
But so there are some differences that I think eventually will just start trickling globally. Like the glass is different in the U.S. spec vehicles than it is globally. Yeah. Just little things like that Nissan eventually is going to have to they just gonna have to, for money's sake, just push it all through and just let's just make the same parts. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
But I was looking for the picture, Danny, of let me go. Well, I can't.
Well, like I said before, Dave, too, is I think there's going to be, there probably some holdout for, elections to decide how they're going to start moving forward as far as manufacturing is concerned, and maybe what they're going to do. I'm sure there's some things that are going to be pivotal with maintaining the same scenarios that we've had the last 4 years, or if we're going to be if things are going to change a little bit the next 4 years. It would be a naive, if you will, to think that those kind of decisions aren't being somewhat based on the futures of the laws, the futures of possibilities of manufacturing overseas, manufacturing in the States, manufacturing in Mexico,
Right.
trade in import export. So I'm sure that a lot of those decisions will get made shortly after the election season. Or they may have two options, and they say this is option one, this is option two, depending on who's going to be running America, and how much they're going to get kicked back, or how much they're not going to get kicked back, how much they can write off in taxes, or if if there's going to be a new higher tax, or those things all play we don't try to get too political, but it's got the auto industry has been moved around largely in part in the last 10 years by large cafe standards and electric vehicle subsidies and stuff like that have done big things in the auto industry. So
Right. All right. So here is the Nissan Global. It's like I said, once again, this is for the Asian market, but it's for the Navara, and I'm assuming that first one is days, so 12 days, hours, minutes, seconds. But as you can see, the clock is ticking for the Navara. Now I just had it up here, so thanks for that link, Joe. I'll bring this back up.
Is that Indian, here. Malaysian? What is that?
I'm not sure on that one, Dan.
Huh?
What is up, Silver Warrior? But I really do, Danny. Ultimately, I don't want to keep beating this horse, but I think eventually that the global market goes to what we have. And I also think that diesel is going to go away in these markets. I think that...
You think the diesel is going to go away overseas,
Nissan,
especially in markets like India?
Well, maybe not India, but Australia definitely.
And there is a population in India that is ridiculous, and they don't have them same standards.
No, but why? They're we whether get political or not, but the whole global environmental
or the
thing,
Green New Deal and stuff.
Well,
whoever's checked into that,
the deal we pulled out of that Trump had pulled us out of, and all that. The Paris trade deal or whatever. But that was a part of it, that these guys, India and China and Russia and all these, were supposed to start coming in line with some of this stuff. Now, Nissan and a bunch of the manufacturers now said, like in Europe, they don't do, their diesel motors are gone. They're like slowly out of the cars, going away from diesel. So it only makes sense that hey, let's start the trucks. Now, there's no reason that they cannot use. Look at the patrol in Australia right now. At first, they hated having that gas-powered V8. Now these guys are loving the power and the big V8 sound.
Yeah.
So I think that it was a good way for Nissan to kind of set that market up with that vehicle of like, okay, here's gasoline. And I think eventually they just go to the V8 that we have, or the V6 that we're gonna have. That's just gonna be it.
I find that I don't think that's the way it's going to go. I kind of disagree with you on I think the diesel will be here for quite a bit longer, just because of its reliability, its longevity, and its fuel economy. I'm leery to say that the diesel is going to go away internationally.
Well, I'm not saying completely.
Maybe in some slightly more some more countries that are more concerned with that.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see it happening. but I think in large internationally, I think we'll still see the diesel in production in large scale for large portions of whether it's the Middle East or India, like I said, um, you know, all in those areas. I think even maybe South Africa and stuff like that. I think we'll see a lot of it still in
Well,
that area.
so Kevin's down there. Alpine Tribe is talking about torque and miles per gallon with the diesel, which is a big thing. But here in the United States, man, they're restricting diesel so bad it's not worth it anymore unless you're plan on running that vehicle 500,000 miles. It's getting to the point here in the United States that diesel is not what it used to be, and it's not diesel's fault. It's just the regulations that are put on it now. Like with, DEF was supposed to help clean up all the emissions and stuff, and it's just caused more problems than it's worth because the vehicles they're breaking down faster because of the way it has to heat up the fluid and that, and it's not the most environmental option. And
well, it's one more fluid to change regularly.
Mhm.
It can burn out. If the system starts working incorrectly, you can burn out cats, or it can solidify in your cats and cause plug up your exhaust system.
Mhm.
Problems with that. It's yeah, it does when the system's working properly. It does break down the exhaust particulate into a very economical
But
gas.
it's like the world has to be in
almost
line
more of a
perfectly.
pain than it's worth.
Yes.
Yeah. The systems work until they don't, right?
Right.
And then on top of that, you're buying $60 worth of DEF fluid, once a month or something like that.
Especially if you're
every
driving
other
a
month.
Titan.
Depends what you're driving. Depends how much you're driving it.
The Titans have been a disaster. That 5 liter diesel, which Nissan takes a lot of crap because of the shortfall of the diesel. But really they bought a diesel engine from Cummins that wasn't a good motor to begin with, and obviously they're not partnered with those anymore, but it had DEF issues. Like you couldn't keep the thing full of fluid of DEF. You could barely get enough in it before as soon as you filled up diesel, you were filling up the DEF, which is the wrong. It's just not how it should be.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother show. I think though, Danny, once again, I think that these trucks all start merging, and maybe they get a taste of the Nismo life that we're about to get a taste of too.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool to see what they do out in Australia with them. It'd be nice to have, Australian off-road companies jumping in the mix and making the same, or making their version of the stuff that we have, and seeing what they come up with compared to what we come up with. Sometimes they do stuff better, sometimes we do stuff way better, and it might be a good thing. I think the two separate models isn't a good thing for us, as it is. It would be good if we had at least the same chassis, if not the same, if not different motor options.
Yeah.
Of course, we'd love a diesel in the States. It'd be kind of cool, for all kinds of different reasons. But it doesn't.
And
nothing's pointing towards that ever happening out here.
About 4 years ago, Nissan, right before I guess it's been about 5 years ago now, when they were all hyped on the Titan being diesel. They'd taken a Frontier and put the little 2.8 liter diesel in it, and they were toying around with it, and they were letting journalists drive it around.
They had that for
I think, and I've seen a lot of people going, "Oh, the next Frontier is it's got to have diesel. It's got to have this and that." It's like, look, guys, Nissan learned their lesson on diesel with a truck. I do not ever see them. I can't say ever, but I do not see them wanting to go down that path again, of wanting to put that. GM is not. They're not setting the world on fire with Colorado diesel sales.
No, and on top of it, the Nissan diesel that Australia had, it's not like it was a perfect truck. That there was a rash of problems that certain production years that they had a lot of problems with one variant of their diesel out there. So it wasn't like it was the best diesel ever to grace the lands of the of the guys down under or anything. I think they fixed some problems later in the production, but I think for quite a few years they had been known for some issues, if I remember right.
Right. Well, let's see. Answers our questions here. Joe Taylor says, any news on the Nismo Frontier model? I heard they were bringing the Nismo back for the 2022 year. Joe, I'd reported that several months ago that Nissan was meeting with dealers and they were talking about the plans for the truck. And Nissan had said, "Hey, we're going to bring out the Frontier. Then the next year we're going to bring out the Nismo version." And dealers were not happy about that plan. Dealers said, bring it all out at once. Don't trickle this crap out. Look what it did for Titan. They brought the stupid Titan out as a diesel XD option only, and it confused the market. And then you could get the V8, and then they finally brought the 1500 in. Like, it just, Nissan needs to learn. Go full force as hard as you can, as fast as you can. Just drop it all, and let's see what happens. Get it out,
plug the shit out of it, run your ads, run, sponsor things, get social media buzzing about it, just be everywhere for as long as you trend for as long as you possibly can, and keep that content in the forefront and show everything that you can do. You don't want to be slowing down on your trending and then try and bump it back up by oh, now we gotta have a new Nismo, and everybody's like, we already heard everything about your stuff,
right.
Like,
well, and think about this, Dan.
Model.
The truck hasn't been refreshed in 15, almost 16 years, so there's a rabid fan base that's waiting for the new truck. So what do? They go out and buy that the third gen truck, and they're all happy about it, and then a year later Nissan goes, well, you could have had this though. And they're all either upside down in a vehicle, or it doesn't make sense to go trade in the vehicle for the one that you really want now. Like, it's just bad business to do that. Now, if it was like 3 or 4 years down the line, I can understand, hey, we're trying to eke out a few more sales. Let's throw a hot rodded version up. But no, if they screw up by doing what I've heard they want to do, Joe, it's typical Nissan. It's them tripping over their own feet.
Well, I think they should have a limited edition first year model, Pro 4X,
maybe
Pro 4X, special edition, limited edition, or something like that. If they're gonna do it, it's the first new Nismo first. Maybe that's a good idea or not. Yeah. I would pitch that to a table, say, hey, let's talk about this. Is this an option? But do something that excites. Something that you can only get this. A limited quantity. Maybe they make 100 of them with this special stitch seats, or special color option, or whatever it is. But bring some hype, bring some, like, hey, you got to get this. This is the only time this is going to be available.
Yeah.
Those kind of things that you see a lot of other manufacturers do. And
well, and okay, so it seemed to work out for Ford Bronco. They did a first edition, or whatever they're calling it, sold out instantly. They sold 7,000 of those out real quick. GMC Hummer, now they did their little first edition. Supposedly it sold out real quick. I don't know who has $112,000 for that turd, but so be it. It seems to be the trend now in auto manufacturing of, let's do a first edition. Play to the people's greedy side, or their
Well, there's always going to be a few rich people that just want the special edition, or whatever. That money's not really a big deal. They just want to be special.
Well, and we have seen in those couple spy pictures that we've seen of the interior of this Frontier, it is taking. I've said the truck's not taking a giant leap forward like I'd like to see it do. The interior is, I ragged on it that one night, but if you look at what we have now compared to what it's going to look like, yes, that is a giant leap forward. So the Frontier is about to step up and it could be worthy of a first edition. Like, you get some nice trim or some special stitching.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Maybe this, and it doesn't need to be the first edition, but the Nismo edition. You know what? You could make that. Don't throw some janky ass bull bar on it.
Yeah.
And like a third of an inch of a lift with some basic ass Bilsteins. Put some real thought and put some testing into it. We can compare it to like some of these models that Bronco brought out. They did some real testing. They took those things out and they beat the piss out of them. and they took it and they said, this is the version we're going to do.
Right.
Do some of that. Put a good suspension package on it. Go test it. If it sucks, do something better.
Right.
Come out with a good special package that people are really going to want, and show it off. Hey, we tested this out, in the Utah and Moab,
Right.
I mean, Jeep's done that, and now Johnson Valley, Ford's done it with their King of the Hammers. They've been doing a lot of stuff with that.
What if Nissan has something for King of the Hammers this year, Danny?
Yeah, that would be amazing. I don't, coming off of COVID, I don't know if that's going to be a thing. But there's always a chance.
Well, I think what we know of King of the Hammers and Nissan, they had plans. We'll leave it at that, guys. They had plans.
But,
maybe we'll see it. When is King of Hammers? February?
I believe so. Yeah.
Timing could be right, guys. That's all I'm
Could be
gonna
right.
say. If we don't see that truck, I'm going out on a limb here. I'm gonna say this: if we do not see that truck by the end of November, I've said December is a dead month for all manufacturing. They're not showing you anything because they're all going home to families and they're just doing whatever.
Yeah.
February, right before King of the Hammers, book it. That's when you see the next Frontier, and it goes on sale late April. I'm just gonna say that right now. Late April goes on sale. I was asked let's see, somebody asked me, Dog Breath, when will they start Frontier production in Canton, Mississippi? I don't have any answer for you on that one, man. I've got some connection down in Canton, but it's not super solid. I've been bitten with some of the information there, so I'm not sure. Last I heard, I'd heard that. So if you work for Nissan, obviously you get to lease and buy vehicles at a different way than we do. So they lease vehicles. You do a year lease, 2-year lease at least, 6 months lease, depending on what you want to do. And a lot of these guys are constantly trading out. They'll do a 6-month lease. They'll have a GTR for a bit, and they'll go into a truck. And the cool thing about when you lease a GTR, or it used to be, you got 6 months, but guess what? It was like 20,000 miles you could put on that thing in that 6 months. Dude, I would be driving that car everywhere. But my point is, Nissan has opened up the 2021 model year for their employees. And I know this for a fact. 2021 Frontier is on that list already. Now, does that mean that they're going to do a short production run year of the current Frontier till they get all their, till they do a short 2021?
Is that going to be like an employee 20?
Well, but they like a sport
Frontier,
like they did Rogue. Yeah. So they did the Rogue Classic or whatever they called it when they were in between the two.
Hopefully that's not what it is, but
yes, hopefully it's not. But I was told by deep sources that we are getting the 2020. It's late Q1 is when that truck's coming out. So, a lot of the math is coming together that I can, say, hey, yeah, it's coming. But as far as production, Dog Breath, I would say they would probably do something around early December. They'll start doing trials. This is me speculating. I do not know this for a fact, but I guarantee I won't. Damn it! Don't say guarantee. I think they will do trials around 1st of December. Which means I've told y'all many times, PT1 is what they call their first trial. They'll only build like 6 to 8 trucks. They make sure all the stamping and everything's where it should be. They make sure that yes, Joe, let's talk about that later. That they'll do that. They'll wait maybe a month, and then they'll come back with PT2 trials where they're close, but they're not ready to ship those. By the end of PT2 trials, you would never know that they're not ready to ship. So, anyways, so I would say I know changeover happens usually around when the plants shut down, and they do shutdowns 3 times a year. I believe it's July 4th weekend, end of August, and usually sometime middle December, sometime around there. They shut down for 2 weeks for Christmas, and that's usually when they do changeovers. So, and let's see, Flytrap give us $5. It says, Dave, I think the Gen 2.5 2020 isn't bad because there's a lot of folks that love the 2nd gen body style, but really want the newer power plant with more power. I agree. was head scratching that they put that motor in there. Now that motor's not going to be exciting. And usually, Danny, for me, motors are where, like, yeah, the first thing you see is a new design. You're like, oh crap, that's cool. But when you see 310 horsepower in a new truck, oh man, like, we're American guys. We know what horsepower we like. That gets our blood running, man. You know, nothing's more American than horsepower. Why that is? It's like gauging the size of your wiener. I don't know. It's just what guys do.
Well, that, and it gives you, I mean, there's nothing better than pushing on a gas pedal and the truck moving at the speed you push the gas pedal. You know, if you have a really fast car, that car, it's almost like it moves forward at the speed you push the gas pedal. So if you press the gas pedal slow, it just starts trotting forward. You push the gas pedal fast, it starts just moving at the same speed. And if you've driven something with a lot of horsepower, you know, 300 to 500 horsepower, up in that range, probably in the higher threes, I'd say. You kind of know that feeling. Whereas you drive something with a 4-cylinder or something that's got like 200 horsepower, you push the gas pedal to the floor and it downshifts a couple times and it makes a lot of noise, and then eventually starts pushing forward and going the speed you want. The closer you can get to that, push the pedal, go fast without a million downshifts, or you know, it's got the torque to just push it forward. That feeling is so much better when it's just on demand power. And 310 horsepower in a truck that weighs as much as it does is, you know, nothing to shake a stick at. Those are numbers, you know, it's all kind of relative now. You know, 310 horsepower back in the day is what people were wishing that the Mustang had. And I'm not saying back in the day in the 60s. I'm talking about you know, more recently with the 289 and, you know, the 5-liter, even the 5-liter. Just those are the kind of numbers that were just astronomical. Now they're just whipping them out in a V6,
right?
You know?
Well, so I just put up a web page here. So I'd noticed this Car and Driver article about Nissan. Here's the headline: Nissan Frontier beats Ram TRX top speed in our testing. And they're like, wait, what?
That's a great article. I haven't seen that. So I don't have to read that.
So Ram with TRX is claiming they are the fastest overall production pickup truck. And the Frontier, the new 3.8 liter Frontier, actually
power weight ratio, right?
No, it's because they govern the TRX at 118. The Nissan Frontier is governed at 120. And
that's hilarious.
It was great, man. When I seen
that's
that,
hilarious.
I was like, that's it. But Nissan needs to be all over that. They need to be chatting that up like crazy. Who cares if it's a detail?
Just fun. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, the details are like, just the headline is fantastic.
Right, and
it's a 12-year-old truck.
Yeah, well, and that's what they were saying. And here, this truck is old as can be, and you know, and it has to be embarrassing for Ram too, because here they're claiming all this, and then that 15-year-old truck, you're like, well, wait a minute, because it's not a quarter-mile speed or an eighth of a mile speed. It's just they're saying we're the fastest overall pickup truck. And Danny, if you look at the article, it shows like they show half of the Frontier, half of the TRX together, merging together.
No, I'm seeing that, and I would say that I bet you that Frontier holds its own for a 14-year-old truck with a new motor in it. It probably holds its own around a track, or in a 0 to 60 in a quarter mile. It probably doesn't beat it. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of things that it can't do better, but at the same time, that thing's got to be, you know, doing some serious work, comparatively speaking, to anything else, and, you know, that's way out of its class.
Well, let's get into this article a little bit. So Ram claims its new 702 horsepower TRX pickup truck is the fastest mass-produced truck in the world. Faster refers to the top speed, not acceleration. Ram also claims that the TRX is the quickest truck in the world, a claim that refers to its acceleration. A 2020 Nissan Frontier pickup that we recently tested, equipped with a 310 horsepower 3.8 liter V6, went faster than the 702 horsepower TRX, but its victory is likely fleeting. And they did a correction on this, but when Ram revealed the TRX pickup truck to the world in mid-August, the hype was so big that as the massive truck, the company claimed that the T-Rex was the quickest, fastest, most powerful mass-produced truck in the world. The manufacturer promised that the brazen beg for scrutiny, uncovering their veracity, is one of the reasons of a comprehensive testing data talks. And let's see, where's it? But Ram claims the TRX is also the fastest pickup truck with the highest top speed. This has been proven untrue, at least temporarily, in a David versus Goliath moment. The mighty T-Rex was followed by the puny Nissan Frontier truck that has been on sale largely unchanged since 2005. In the car and driver instrumented testing, the Nissan went faster. How'd this happen? The short answer is that the TRX hit the top speed governor earlier than the Frontier. The full story is considerably more complicated, and in the end, it supports Ram's top speed claim. But, and if you guys go to Car Driver, they have the rest of that article if you want to read it. But, dude,
the fact that they're even in the same category in like these,
yes.
like they're even in the same room, is hilarious. You
right?
know? This is supposed to be the Raptor killer with their murderous, the T-Rex. Meanwhile, you have like a freaking Brontosaurus. Like, oh yeah, dude, I can hang with the.
No, what's those little tiny dinosaurs?
Yeah, right.
That's what. And
packs.
And Nissan needs to play on this, man. It would get them.
Honestly, hilarious. Yeah.
It would give them a few more sales for a truck that's going out anyways. Why not give it a funny ending? You know?
Yeah, go in and tune it up super hardcore, like put one that's like a special version or something like that, and just go, oh, this is a prototype Nissan Velociraptor, or a Nissan Spitter that we're testing. It could be in production as a joke, and just go and whip up with a 450 horsepower gutted Nissan Frontier that's a bloated 720 horsepower T-Rex.
So here's a great ad. This would be a great ad. So it shows a T-Rex chewing on a raptor. You just show like a Jurassic Park scene. It's dark, it's raining, and all of a sudden you hear kadoom, that T-Rex falls on the ground, and it shows just one of those little dinosaurs with the things that came out. Right. And then it spits right at the camera and blacks out the camera and says something mightier than the T-Rex.
Oh yeah, dude.
But and then you play it as our base $28,000 truck just whipped an $80,000 truck in top speed. Like, yeah,
exactly.
Play on that, man. Nissan needs it. Who are they gonna piss off? Like, you're already right now.
No,
you're not.
It'd be a fun commercial. You'd be like, wait, what are they talking about? You go down and be like, hey, let me drive one of them. I heard it's fast.
Yes.
It would capture people's imagination, and it would give it that curiosity. What's the deal with this new Nissan Frontier? I thought nothing changed.
Right.
It's great article that could stem to, maybe they actually sell all the ones that they built over the last year in COVID,
right?
Or maybe they don't have any left already. I don't know if they built any during COVID.
But you know what that also leads to? If they were to do a Nismo version, the off-road version that we've talked about. What if they took a page out of GMC's playbook, and did something like a Cyclone or what was the Typhoon?
Oh yeah,
dude, they do.
Turbo on it or
they throw
like
no, but they do a street version.
A supercharger even would be totally fine.
But you do the little truck would cost $70,000. Who cares? You sell 100 a year. Who cares?
The factory throws the VK in it, and a really nicely tuned VK, and they do. Oh man, that would be a fantastic little factory option that they did a very short run of.
But that's
lowered. What they should have done. That's what they should have done in like 2017.
Yep.
Instead of, if they're not going to come out with something new, come out with they know how to put that motor in the Pathfinder. It's not like they didn't have the tooling to do it. They could have done it without even batting an eye, and they could have said that the Nismo Pro 4X Ultimate, and with a Titan swap front suspension or something like that. They could have designed some stuff.
Joe's you got to let that 3.0 liter twin turbo go, man. That motor was never going in a pickup truck. That's a car motor all day long. And the 3.8. They need the displacement for a truck, but no, Danny, I would offer freaking 2 Nismo versions, Are you a city guy? Or are you an off-roader? And both I've said this for many times. Going down the desert, all you see is it's dusk. You see those glowing running lights, and one of them turns towards the street, and one of them turns towards the desert. And all it needs to say is Nismo coming fall of 2022, just something like that.
Yeah.
And like you said, they know how to put that motor in things. It's not like, especially a V8. Now, Nissan is, we know they're frugal, like you know how you like to say it. They're not cheap. They're wise with their money.
Mm-hmm.
They have these things. They're building these things. Just do it, man. Nissan needs that shot of adrenaline. They need to have a lowered Frontier, all-wheel drive Frontier. You have the perfect all-wheel drive system in a GTR. It could be called a Frontier GTR. It doesn't have to be. Yes, we don't need the 450.
It's a deep push. Nissan, you know as well as I.
No, but
never
just,
do that to the GTR. But I'm willing to jump in your game, dude.
So just go with me.
I'm all in your game, dude. I love it. Don't get me wrong. You know in your heart though that Nissan wouldn't even listen to you after you just said that.
No, because
they would kick you out, and you dishonor our family. You not talk about the GTR Frontier same sentence.
But they won't do it because they're too conservative as a company. Like most Japanese companies, they don't go outside their comfort zone. But
yeah.
it's a big three playbook move. You know.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Just build something retarded. I don't know if you could say that anymore, but build something just out there,
outlandish,
and just wild that captures the imagination, that captures the excitement of motor vehicles, and the possibilities and stuff like that. That I don't know enough to know if that's actually ROI on that is worth it, but to me it seems like something that really catches people's attention when it comes to their vehicle line and goes, oh dude, they're making so much cool stuff. I want to go buy what they're doing because they're making really cool stuff.
And who cares if the truck was $70,000? If they sold 1,000 of them that year, who cares? Now, John Walsh said he read somewhere that someone put a GTR engine in a Frontier. They did do that. I think it was like around 2017. I want to say it was a Navara that they did it to, John. It has been done.
Yeah,
by Nissan,
that thing was rad. Frank B said that I'm canceled. Yeah, cancel culture. I culturally appropriated Japan as well as saying the R. So, Dave, it's been a great last show. I think we're probably gonna get booted and demonetized. And
if you'd like to be the co-host of the Nissan Nation Productions at gmail.com. But no, it is a big three move that they should do. They GTR was amazing for its time when it came out, changed the world. Yeah, it could be a Frontier R, Joe, just something like that. Oh my God, let's see. Flytrap says, "Oh my God, Danny, I just shot a beer across monitor." Oh man, let's see.
Omar Monello, they need to take up the whole Ute left in the Aussie market, lowered all-wheel drive Frontier. Yeah, I personally think Utes are pretty lame. But if you could sneak an MP, I don't know, maybe. I've never been a fan of El Caminos or Utes or, I'm kind of counterculture when it comes to the El Camino. I can't stand them.
The early ones, the big block ones were cool, but by the 70s, late 70s,
I can't do any of them. I just don't. It's not my deal. I don't even care if it looks like a Chevelle in the front.
Danny,
I've seen a couple that look really, but other than that, it's never something that I'm like, hey, this is what I'm all about. It's more like, no.
Danny, what was your take on I know this is a Nissan show, but what was your take on GMC bringing the Hummer name back out as an EV?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it's kind of like what you've said with in the past with Nissan stuff. It's a billion-dollar name, Hummer. It's the name itself, due to its whether it's Googled or its noticeability. I mean, you'd be dumb not to use the name, because it's already so big. Coming back, I don't know how the truck's gonna do. The name is synonymous with like a very rugged, heavy duty, hardcore vehicle, and this seems more like a pretentious wannabe off-road vehicle. That's the vibe I'm getting from it.
Yeah.
Is like it's probably really good, but you're gonna be paying $100,000 for this car. Like nobody's gonna really take it off road. You
No.
might take it.
I don't even like
there might be
calling
a
it.
couple. You might
don't
get a
wanna
couple
call it a
people
truck.
driving it up South America in a special TV show. Or something like that.
Right. I don't even think it's
But
worthy of
I don't
calling it
think
a
it's-
truck, Dan. I think
don't-
that's a toy.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know.
I was in an argument with some journalists about this in a Facebook group we have, and there's a couple hardcore EV ones that just Tesla, they can do no wrong. So EV in general can do no wrong, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's so capable, and I was like, yeah, it's capable of going from here to the grocery store and back, and then the dates on those things, dude, was stupid. So you got to wait 2 years for the first year launch, which
in my
means
opinion,
they haven't even developed it. That's what that means. Is they have not developed it.
In my opinion, they're going to be late to the game. I've been keeping a very close eye on Rivian, and I've seen some really cool stuff. Rivian, I wanted to say they came in second place at the Rebel Rally with one of their trucks. I think one of their trucks, tell me if I'm wrong if you look this up, but if they weren't up in the first or second place or something like that, they did really well. They also gave truck number 1 and 2 to Ewan McGregor and his buddy, who did a electric motorcycle ride from South America all the way up to LA. It's a little reality docu-series thing that they did. They're kind of known for these series, but they gave truck 1 and 2, and they like literally they built these like hand built, not in the they're still building the entire warehouse to build the Rivians, but they hand built these 2 trucks.
Yeah.
And they sent them down to South Africa to drive all up these crazy roads and stuff like that. And they're putting them in rebel rallies. So I'm really hopeful for Rivian. I mean, I don't think it's the best looking truck on the face of the earth. It's pretty good. It's decent.
I think it looks just different enough, because an EV truck has to look different. It can't look just like a normal truck.
Absolutely.
It looks just truck enough to be looking like a real truck, but it looks just different enough to. But why I ask this is because with the next Frontier coming out, Nissan knows EV. They've got the Aria that's about to drop next summer. They've got the Leaf. They've mentioned many times that they need an EV in their truck portfolio. So I think we get a couple years on the Frontier, and then they drop something when I think battery tech is just about to go through a big change. And I
hope so, because they're raping the earth right now for that lithium.
Right? Well, yeah, it's so environmentally friendly that it's like a blood diamond anymore.
Very environmentally friendly to rape
the earth. But there's some glass technology that's about to. It's
there's
coming.
Some good battery tech that they're working on. I've read some stuff. There's some good stuff out there that may be coming soon.
But I think Nissan is really. They've been smart with their EV moves. They proved in proof of concept that they could sell a mass-produced EV car in the Leaf. I think with the Aria coming, that they're going to prove once again they can sell a higher end version of it. I think that we talked that Maxima's dead past the 40th anniversary. I think it goes EV. I really do. That's just in my heart. I believe that they need a luxury car, EV car, full size car.
Yeah.
And then in a couple of years you got a truck, and you basically. It's its own line. It's like what Ford is doing with Bronco. That it's its own sort of branding. You just do an EV branding under the Nissan thing, and I think that Frontier is going to get it.
I could see it happening in the mid-size truck market. As opposed to kind of doing, moving into the diesel, and that, it didn't seem to ever take out here. Even with Jeep, it's not as huge as everybody I think wanted it to be or
that
whatnot.
That Jeep's a joke, dude. That's
yeah.
That's
the way that they've crippled diesel in the United States. Whether it's cafe standards or we talked about this, but I think EV might move into that kind of, lots of torque, and it's really going to come down to battery life, charging stations, infrastructure, and all that stuff. I
I
believe.
think hybrid is really the best way to go, man. I think you're not stranded.
There's definitely some good stuff out there, and we've seen it, and Dodge, or I'm sorry, Ram's been doing it, and
Mhm.
so I agree with you on that. I think there's some good things that could happen in
Like
that
you were
realm.
just saying, the torque is there for EV. Like it gives you that big kick you need, but you need the.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to be stranded by completely electric. So
And
guys,
I think
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
one last thought, Dave. I think we're seeing a lot of these electric trucks with the four-wheel steer with the crawl mode. That Hummer showed the little, where it could drive sideways around stuff and super stupid stuff like that. I think part of that crazy EV stuff, um, it will obviously trickle into how we've been doing business for so long with all of our trucks.
Mm-hmm.
They've been so cookie cutter for so long with just updated motors, a little bit more sophistication, a little bit better gas mileage, lots more power. We've seen lots more power, a little bit more usability. Ford's doing all the trinkets and gizmos and gizmo, but with the intro to EV into this realm of trucks, I think we're going to see a new design of how we attack some of these problems, because some of those things are really cool
Mm-hmm.
and they could be really helpful. Whether it's off road or if it's towing or whatever. I do think that there's going to be some big changes coming in the next 5 to 8 years.
Right. Well, so let's get to our final story, Danny, because I know you got to go in a minute. Let's
I had
see.
to go 10 minutes ago,
Yep.
actually.
I'm sorry, Ben. So here is Team Wild Grace navigates Frontier Nismo to the elite off-road status with a 4th place finish in the Rebel Rally. I paid attention to this. I was tracking this as they did the race. At one point, they were down to 6th or 7th, and they made some. I don't understand these timed events necessarily, so I don't want to. I feel like I'm talking out of line, but they made, from what I heard, they made a couple moves to get some time. Like they gained some time with some of the hard obstacles. They were talking about how there was certain obstacles that were harder than others to go to.
Yeah.
They made up some time and jumped up to 4th place. That's their best finish for Nissan in that race. Congratulations to both Lynn and Sedona for that. That was really cool. It was really cool to see that Frontier kind of get that victory lap out there on the course for what we got coming.
They pushed hard, and from my understanding, it was a packed field, and there was really, and this is just this was talking to Mike, whose wife was doing it, and
Mm-hmm.
and Mike was running basically repair. So if somebody broke on the trail or whatever, they'd have a team that went out and would help bring out extra supplies, or if someone was super stuck and they couldn't get unstuck, they'd run out. And they were bringing supplies out to places and whatnot. So he was kind of part of the whole team of the actual Rebel Rally that was running stuff. But he said that the talk was that this is probably one of the hardest as far as the quality of teams that were out there, and the abilities of all the teams that were out there that were just nailing it nonstop. And for
Yeah.
them to be out there, hit 4th place on such basically a stacked group of women who know what they're doing, it's a huge hat tip to them, that they were able to do what they did.
Right. Well, I'm once again, it was awesome to get to talk to those ladies about it, and maybe, like I had talked to them in that interview, maybe in a couple weeks we can have Sedona or one of them back on just to kind of give us their recap of it. But Danny, I appreciate you coming on tonight, dude. I know this is the longest you've done with me, because I wasn't planning on doing that first show with you on All Terrain Nation. I was like, and then you were like, hell no, I've got to be on there, man. I got to tell you what a piece of crap that Bronco's
time
gonna be.
and last time I wasn't in with you and you guys were talking to him. I don't think our listeners call out Dave enough when he gets rambling, and so I'm sitting there listening, and I was making dinner for my kids and I heard Dave say something and I was like, I need to weigh in on that. So that's why me and Dave work, because sometimes we disagree and I love to bust his chops about it.
Well, and to those, we've had people asking about the podcast, Danny. There's few people that want us to do a podcast, so maybe guys coming up in the next few weeks, me and Danny can sit down and just do a podcast and Give
some
our audio
for
fans
for the drive to work and back.
That's right. We'll call it the Nissan podcast, but we'll just talk about it's completely nothing about Nissan. It'll be funny.
There you go.
Well, anyways, guys. So unless you have any final things to jump in here, it's been a good one. Danny, will we see you Monday night for All Terrain Nation?
We'll try. I'll try my best. We'll see. We'll see how the wife takes all this time away.
Well, but I know we got motorcycles on that show. We're going to be talking soon.
Oh, I got so many thoughts too. I got so many thoughts. I've been wanting to talk about this, so I'm gonna try real hard.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited because of I know nothing about motorcycles other than riding them.
Well, and you know what? And here's a teaser that Ewan McGregor and his buddy. They rode electric motorcycles from the tip of South America to LA. So
just the tip.
There's definitely some talk about more electric motorcycles and what the future is for adventure bikes and stuff like that.
Well, Joe, I'll check in on those PT trials. So, guys, thank you everybody who's done the super chat tonight or the stickers or whatever. Guys, that is huge for our channel. We are a funded channel, but we make roughly $5 a day on this channel, which isn't gonna like set the world on fire by any means. It helps. We've been able to set a little bit of money back. So me and Danny, once the world opens up a little bit, me and Danny are going to start traveling to you guys. We want to review your vehicles. We've got all kinds of fun things to talk about. Obviously, Frontier's coming up. Global Frontier's coming up. There's a lot of cool things. Pathfinder's coming up as well. And everything I know about Pathfinder is we're going to be very impressed with it, guys. So from all things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee, my studios, which, hey, Danny, I have a video dropping on how I built this studio coming up this week. So that should be kind of fun. It's a little 5-minute video. But so from all things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee to wherever you are watching us around the globe, this has been your Nissan Nation. And what are we, Danny?
We are out.
Peace, everybody. See y'all Monday night on All Terrain Nation. If you haven't yet, go sign up. Peace.